I was afraid that would happen, that I'd get sucked in at Stanimals in Glasgow. It's after 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm now heading north. So I literally just got out of the car. So I'm not gonna make it very far, and it's also, you can cut the heat and humidity with a knife. So I'm just gonna probably just go to the first shelter. My goal was just to get out of the house and get back onto the trail so that I wouldn't stay here another day, you know. That's just craziness. So all right, there's my trailhead. I think my favorite part of staying in Glasgow, one was the church service I went to down by the river, and that had the boys from the Boys Home of Virginia. And that was really cool, and seeing David and his wife Courtney again. But getting to know Texas Dreamer better. She's a sweetie, she's the caretaker now. And a guy named Jeopardy came in to replace her, so he'll be there, I think, for the winter. So it was fun to get to know them. But this guy, Dima, his trail name's Coyote, and he was so funny. He started telling us stories about the grasshopper and the ant, and you know, he just started telling these stories that had a moral, and oh my God, we were howling. He had the music he pulled up on his cell phone with like suspense music and stuff. He's 17 and just a hoot and a half. And he kept us giggling all night. But anyway, it's really fun to meet fun people. And yeah, I'm just gonna walk slow and to stay at the first shelter and hopefully get up at the crack of dawn before any heat hits tomorrow, because I don't want to feel nauseous and stuff like I had over the last few days of hiking, because that's really not a good thing. It feels good to be back on the trail. So I'm at that first shelter, Johns Creek, I think, but it's just so hot. I don't know if this would be classified as a heat wave. The last several days, actually most of last week hiking was ridiculous, and then today, I don't even know the temperature, but let's put it this way, if I were just at home in this heat and humidity, it wouldn't even occur to me to go for a hike today. It wouldn't be a healthy thing to do. So, I don't know, it's still muggy and hot here, but at least I have shelter and I'm not climbing, and I'm right at the base going up a mountain. So what I'm going to do is stick around till around 4 and see if once the sun is lower in the sky, if the temperature drops a little bit. There's a tent site maybe 2 miles away from here, you know, so it'll take about an hour, maybe a little bit more than an hour. So I'd still get there during daylight, and it, you know, just get me another couple miles up the trail, or I'll just stay here. If somebody else shows up, I'll probably just stay here, so I'll have company, but it would be nice just to get further up the trail. Every little bit helps. I only have 4 days worth of food, so I need to get to Montebello. That's where I have a resupply package waiting, so I'll need to do, you know, 10 miles a day. I could aim for more, but if it's going to be this hot all week, I don't want to guarantee that I'm going to do more, because it's oppressive. So, but I have to get to Montebello within 4 days, or I won't have any food left. I hung out till around 4, like I said I would. It was just unbearably hot, and I didn't see any relief at 4, and then even 4:30. I tried lighting a little bit of a fire. I got just a little one going. I wanted the smoke to try to get rid of the bugs. It worked a bit, but I don't want to fire. It's just too hot, but I wanted to get rid of the bugs. So I am spending the night here. I actually said that to the staff over at Stanimals when I left. I said, I just got to get out of the hostel because I'm in danger of like having another 0 day. And if I could just get 1 mile up the trail, which is where I am now, then first thing in the morning I can get up and out, rather than having spent another night there and lingering until 8 or 9 or 10, and you know how that goes. So it's fine. I had hoped to just get further up the trail to a tent site after 4 o'clock, but like I said, it was too hot. But the comments and the guidebook didn't look too promising for tenting areas. And the next shelter was yet another 10 miles from here. So I didn't want to do that starting at 4:30, 5 in the afternoon. So bottom line, I am here. I had dinner and all that. I'm alone. I don't expect anyone to come here because this is if you're southbound, this is the last shelter before town. I mean, you can get a hitch to town and just a mile up the road. And anybody coming northbound probably would stay at the shelter just before the footbridge. So I suspect I'll be alone, which is a bummer. I hung my bear bag, and in a different way, hopefully I'll remember to show you tomorrow, but there's just no trees here that are appropriate for hanging a bear bag. So I had to get creative, and I tried something, and it's not perfect, but it's the best I can do. So I'm going to check off some of the mileage that I've done. Let me show you. Alright, if you remember from a few days ago, I've got the mileage here, and so I was at Thunder Hill Shelter before I went into Glasgow, which is down here. So I'm going to mark off the miles from Thunder Hill to Glasgow. That's Creek, and Glasgow's right here. Oh, and I'm actually at John's Hollow Shelter right here. So cool. So tomorrow I'll go, it looks like I'm probably going to go shelter to shelter between here and Waynesboro. At least it's the way it looks now. That might be the best for me with the heat. That way I can make sure that I have a water source and all. So looks like John Hollow, where I am, is miles 787.7 and then 796.5. So not quite 10 miles, but it'll have to do. And then the next day I'll take a peek. The next shelter is Brown Mountain Creek Shelter, mile 806. So, yeah, approximately every 10 miles. So it might take me 8 days to get to Waynesboro, but if the heat breaks, then I can do more miles and tent. I don't mind tenting. I like tenting, actually. And, you know, I'd like to get there maybe 6 or 7 days, and not 8. So, I don't know. The other consideration tonight, and also going forward in tenting in between the shelters, I've been informed, and the guidebook also confirms that it's pretty dry around here. There's not a lot of water sources, and the ones that are here, it did rain the day before yesterday, so it might have a little bit of water, but all indications show that it's pretty dry, shelter to shelter, and even at the shelters, it's not the best pickings. So if I did go on, for example, you know, if I went a few miles up the road tonight and stopped halfway, I would have depleted the water. I could fill up here, but between this afternoon and then tonight and then having breakfast, I would probably deplete my water source, and then I'd be going the additional miles to the next shelter without any water, or with very little water. And in this heat, I don't want to have to ration myself that much. So shelter to shelter seems to be the safest thing for me to do, even if it takes me a little longer to get to my destination. So there's nothing else for me to do except wait for it to get dark and then go to bed. I am going to take a Tylenol PM that my friend Susan sent me. Susan, if you're watching, thank you. I will give it a shot. My insomnia doesn't seem to be breaking. I did sleep well last night, but I was at the hostel. And I just really don't want to toss and turn all night and then have to hike 10 miles in really high temperatures and being sleep deprived. So I'm going to take a Tylenol PM. My only concern about that is that if it puts me in too deep of a sleep, what if something happens? What if a bear does come, or, you know, if there's anything, I don't want to be that groggy that I'm like, hey, bear. So we'll see. Maybe I'll take a half of one. So you can just sit with me here and watch the grass grow. I'm sitting in the shelter, but on my new chair. I think I showed you the other day that I got from one of the students at Washington and Lee before they went back. So I'm sitting here and just kind of rocking and listening to the cicadas, and really not much else to do. Yeah. It's like watching the grass grow.